Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Nadia and this is Darkxstitch. This week I haven't done as much as I thought I was going to get done because I have been making things with clay and it kind of took over most of my day during the week. So I'm going to start with the Heaven and Earth Design Sal because I really failed on progress this week. So let me find that one first. So if you've never been here before, I mostly do full coverage pieces, but there is a few samplers that I have here. And this year I decided to take part in the Heaven and Earth Design Stitch Along, and I picked the cat because you could pick between 10 images. And usually what I try and do with this chart is stitch it during the day. But this week I've already failed. So I have done 605 stitches. Now I really like, typically I like to do about 1,000 stitches a week on this, and I have been trying to do that since Christmas, since it started. But this week I have just not done it. There is a reason for it. I have been making a lot of clay items this week, and I've been testing out quite a few different ideas that I had. It's actually been really nice to get back to making things. If you're not aware, I do have an Etsy shop, but it's actually shut on holiday mode at the minute. And it's been a long time since I've actually made something, and it just felt really good to get back to making things. I actually made some floss drops and I made a prototype. I've got an idea of something that I want to do. I won't talk about it yet because I haven't done it, but this was a prototype for something that I want to do. I'll see if I've still got a picture of it. It's a little froggy in a pond. The actual thing that I want to make isn't going to look like that, but he was really cute and I had a lot of fun making him. And then I actually made some gonk cover minders or needle minders. I'll put a picture up as well because I make them. Well, I used to make them before Christmas. I was doing birthstone ones, so I was doing one for every month. And I got to September and then I shut the shop. And I've just done October's. So they don't they don't look like October ones to me though, because October is like a pinky coloured stone. And when I think of October, I think of Halloween. So I was really tempted to do two versions of these gonks and do like a spooky Halloween one, but we're in January, so I can always do that later on in the year. But I did have a really good time getting back into making things and using my hands and just keeping myself busy. It's been really nice to do that instead of constantly doing the same thing every day, if that makes sense. So while I haven't done that much stitching on this, I'm glad I did do something creative this week because I think it really did help my mental health this week. I was feeling a little bit down for most of the week, and I think it's because I spend a lot of time inside with my son because we homeschool. So it was really nice just to get back to making something. Anyway, Heaven and Earth Design Sale. So I've done 605 stitches this week. And as I said, I typically like to do 1,000. So it is a little bit worrisome for me that I'm going to be left behind because it's a sale. I don't want to be the one that has done barely anything. But whenever I feel like, I don't know, not ashamed, but whenever I feel like I haven't done enough, I go and check the group. And I know I'm not the only one, so it makes me feel better because, as I said last week, there's a lot of people that have already done the first 3 pages that we've been given. So I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm just going to stitch it when I feel like stitching it. It's not, and I think the reason for it was as well is it's not something that I would typically stitch that often. So here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here's what it looks like now. So not much progress been done, mostly down here and filling in some little ninja stitches as I went. There was a couple in this archway here, so I filled all them in. I don't like to leave ninja stitches if I can help it, or basically just one stitch on its own. So I try and come all the way down, and I'll work with a colour until I can't. If there's like a colour right down, another stitch right down here of a colour, I won't do it, I'll stop. But I try and do all the same colour of the thread that I'm using. That makes no sense. Do all the same stitches of the thread that I'm using in the area that I can get to before I go on to another colour, because I don't like leaving little stitches everywhere. So next we have Soda Stitch. Now I have enjoyed stitching this one this week and last week, but mostly it's been mostly white stitches, so it's been very, very easy. Here's what it looked like the last time you saw it, and here's what it looks like now. So basically all I've done this week is fill, I don't know if you can see because of the colour difference in the fabric, but I filled in all the white, so all inside here and all of the face, and then I did the yellow in the ears. I basically just filled out mostly white, though I didn't really work with many other colours, but there was a lot of stitches of white in this kitty. And I did 1,212 stitches on this week, and that took me to 18.50%. So I'm going to completely finish this cat, and then I'll go on to the next one. This one is in the middle of the fabric. I don't usually like working in the middle of the fabric, especially for full coverage, but this one is actually a really, really easy stitch, so I don't mind. This fabric is, I believe, 16 count, and it is DMC's Sandstorm printed fabric, and I am doing 2 strands full cross. Next up is Intrusive Thoughts. Now this one was a spin the wheel one last week, because I didn't know what I wanted to work on. So I worked on this for one night, and here's what it looked like last time you saw it. And here is what it looks like now. So all I did basically is work in this part here, and I did 132 stitches. I also went and did a couple of ninja stitches along here. This bit was all done last time I worked on it, but it was mostly in this cheek jawbone here. So yeah, 132 stitches, and this is now at 24.65%. And she is stitched on 25 count fabric, 1 strand half stitch or tent stitch. And this is artwork from, well, by my daughter, that I charted. So I do have this one on my Etsy, and the chart that's on Etsy is different to this one because this was like the test stitch, and there ended up being a bit of green that came through into the black, so the one on Etsy is just completely black. I took all of the green out because it didn't look right. So in certain lights this one looks a little bit different. There is like a patch here inside the mouth. This bit inside the mouth is actually green. I don't know if that's picking up on camera or not. The screen that I see everything when I'm recording is so small, and then when I look back on like the TV or whatever to check it, like it looks so different. So sometimes it's hard for me to tell whether you can see it or not. Now the next one is Darth Daddy, and this was another spin the wheel pick from last week. So here's what it looked like last week when you saw it, or if you haven't seen it before, here's what it looks like now. So I went back and did a bit of Luke with the black, and I am literally just working my way from up here and then down. I do this on every cross stitch really. I just pick the highest spot that I can see on Pattern Keeper, and I try and work with that colour as much as I can, go in wherever. I don't usually do cross country though, so I don't tend to like shoot down here somewhere. I will try and stay in the area that I am on, but I really don't like leaving just one stitch by itself. So yeah, I tend to just work straight down from left to right on a piece. But this one isn't very wide. If you've never seen it before, that's how wide it's going to be. So it's not a very wide one, but it is going to be fairly long. Yeah, and I really, really like this pattern. It's really, really nice. This one I think I'm going to frame and put it in the living room when I'm done. And this is actually my oldest piece at the minute that I'm currently working on. This is a 1.5 years old now, so all of the things that you see me working on are all under a 1.5 years old. This is the oldest one because before I did this I was doing a lot of stamped kits, and then I got rid of a lot of them because they weren't very good quality, you know, they weren't licensed kits. And when I did do counted cross stitch, I don't think I did something full coverage. So I actually think this is the first full coverage counted cross stitch that I've ever done. So this week I did 221 stitches, and that means this piece is now at 53.5%, which is really, really cool because we're over the halfway mark. I want to put a lot of effort into this one this year and try and get it almost finished. I'm not going to finish it before the end of the year, but I would like to keep working on this one. It's a really fun stitch. Really, really easy, not a lot of confetti, and it is 2 strands, half stitch on 25 count fabric. The artist is Mandy Manzano, that originally did the artwork, and I bought this pattern off of Etsy from Creatively Stitching. But if you ever see anything in my videos that you like, I always try and list everything in the description. So if I don't mention who the artist is or where I bought it from, because I always forget, it will be in the description. I usually always do, and if I've missed it, then just leave me a comment and let me know, and I'll shoot you the link over straight away as soon as I see your comment. So yeah, as I said, I am pretty bad with not telling you the artist's name and the company that I bought it from, so just check the description if you see anything new and I haven't said anything. So this one is Venom, and Venom is my focus for February, which means that I need to stitch on it. Well, I don't need to, but I would like to stitch on it 3 days a week, every week in February, and every month I have a different focus. So here's what it looked like the last time you saw it, last week. And here's what it looks like now. Now we've got some really cool progress going on this week. I am up to the eye, so I don't know if that will show. Will that show? There's a lot of white stitches there. I hope you can see it because it's really difficult for me to see in this little screen that I'm recording on. So Venom got 989 stitches this week, and he is now at 25.19%. So he is getting there. Definitely getting there. And what I really need to get is some sort of board, like foam board, so you can't see through the fabric, because that really bugs me. It's harder to show you things. But yeah, there's a bit more detail coming in here now, and around here. So I'm really, really happy, and I'm actually really, really enjoying stitching on this one now. When I first started this one, I was pretty new to counted cross stitch, and it was very, very confusing for me. So because there was a lot of confetti in this one, I worked in 4x4 squares when I first started, and I did probably about that much in 4x4 squares, and now I'm feeling a bit more confident that I can move around the pattern a bit more. I haven't gone any further than this though, and there is a reason for it, because I don't know if you probably haven't seen all of my floss tubes, but there was one at the beginning where I had a teeny weeny little tablet, an old tablet with Pattern Keeper on, and I bought a new tablet, and then I couldn't get my patterns to transfer, like ones that I'd stitched on in Pattern Keeper, to transfer to the new tablet. Now somebody said that you can send them in PDF form, but the problem that I had with this old tablet is it doesn't connect to the internet, it won't connect through Bluetooth, it literally will not. It won't do the nearby share thing that you can do as well on some Android devices. It will not let me share the progress in Pattern Keeper to the new tablet. So I'm still working on the old tablet. So what I'm going to do is, when I hit this page, this is the first page. So I haven't gone any further down, because when I finish this bit in the old tablet, I will then transfer this pattern to the new tablet, and I won't have to worry about marking every single individual stitch that I've done. I will just, if you hold the finger on the page in Pattern Keeper, you can highlight all the stitches and just tick done. So that's what I'll do, because I tried for, must have been about a week, to get this chart, Pokémon and Intrusive Thoughts are still on the old tablet. And I really want to get them done, them pages that I'm working on them 3 charts done, so I can get them off that tablet, because it is so slow and it really takes me a good half an hour to actually start stitching because it takes ages to load, and then when it does I can't zoom in and out on Pattern Keeper because it just jumps all over the place and doesn't like it. It likes to be on for about half an hour. It likes to have a cup of tea and a wake up before I start using this tablet. So yeah, once that's done and I get past that bit, I can then move further with my thread, and that will hopefully speed up the process, because this is really fun to stitch on now. I'm a lot more confident with this piece than I was when I first started it, with all the confetti. So as soon as I get past that bit, which I'm hoping to do this week actually, we can move and I can be a bit more free with what I'm doing. So next up is Pokemon, and this was another spin the wheel choice last week. This was also January's focus piece, and I failed big time on this one on the last 2 weeks of January. I didn't barely stitch on it at all. So here's what it looked like the last week. And here is what it looks like now. So I literally did not much, 140 stitches, and that gives me a total of 9.47%. All I basically did is fill out Mr. Mime and some of Lapras, because this here is Lapras. Filled out a bit of Lapras and mostly Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is such a freaky little Pokemon. He scares me. Because he looks like a sort of human. He scares me. I don't like Mr. Mime. So yeah, not much progress on this one, but this is another one that needs to come off the other tablet, and that's another reason why I don't like picking it up sometimes, because it takes me ages to load it. But I think, how many pages? I might just transfer this one once I've finished this page, transfer it to the new tablet and see if I can just mark off these top ones here. That shouldn't be too difficult, and I will worry about that when I come to it. Basically what happened with this chart is I started in the middle, didn't like starting in the middle, so I worked my way back up to the top left. So that they won't be an issue when it comes to putting them in the new tablet. But yeah, I think what I'll do is transfer this one into the new tablet once I get to the bottom of this page here. So next is, well actually this is the last one. So the last one for this week is my giant focus piece, which is Lord of the Rings. And I am a little bit happier with the progress I made this week versus last week's progress. So here's what it looked like last week. And in case you didn't know, I stitch on this every night for 200 stitches roughly. And I want to finish this within 7 years. Thinking about it, it's going to go over 7 years, but when it gets to the last year, depending on how much progress I have left to do, it might just be my one and only focus to get it done, because I have a feeling that it's going to take longer than 7 years. I think I was a bit ambitious with that. Seeing as I'm only doing 200 stitches a night, I think it's going to take longer than that. If I was only stitching this one thing, then it would easily come under that. But unfortunately, I do not. So here is my progress. So I've almost finished this page now. And it was, how many stitches? 1,367 stitches this week. I absolutely love the colours in this. It is so vibrant. And that gives me a total of 4.57%. So I have been working on this since May 2023. I started it on my 33rd birthday in May 2023, okay? Now, I want to finish this before I'm 40, and I'm only on 4.57%. So if I'm going at the rate that I am, I'm definitely not going to finish it in 7 years' time. But since doing Flosstube, so I started it in May and I did Flosstube in September. Since doing Flosstube, I have worked on it every single day. Before that, I wasn't. I left it like a couple of months and did nothing on it. So we will, I've got a while, but we'll see how it goes, because I was looking at that percentage thinking, that's only 4.57 and it's now 2024. You ain't getting this done before your 40th birthday, but I will see how much progress I have left to do in the last 2 years or so of it. We're just going to go for it for now and stick to the 200, and then it might be a case of when I get halfway through, so say if I hit, we'll see what year it is when I hit 50% or something, and we'll see what to do then. But for now, I'm still stitching on this 200 stitches a night. So this one is on 28 count, and it's, again, I've gone back to 2 strands half stitch because I chopped and changed from 2 strand to 1 strand, then back to 2 strand, but I'm keeping it at 2 strand now. So that is everything I worked on this week, and I actually counted down my stitches that I done this week. I did 4,666 stitches in 1 week, which is pretty good going. I have a teeny weeny little bit of haul to show you before I go. So this has nothing to do with cross stitch at all. I just thought these were really, really pretty and I want to show them off. I bought some jewellery off of Etsy from a handmade seller. So as I said at the beginning of the video, I make handmade clay items, and this lady makes clay earrings. Now, I have a big soft spot for clay makers just because I know how fiddly it is and how difficult it can be and how expensive it can be to make things out of clay, and like time consuming and all that type of stuff. So when I look for earrings, I always look for handmade earrings. These aren't actually clay, but she had some clay earrings that I noticed, and then when I went through her shop I found these. Now I'm actually going out tonight with my partner to a work do because I'm going to meet his his former workmates actually, because he's moved store, moved location. But I wanted something that would work with a plain dress because I didn't want to spend loads of money on new clothes to wear it one night. So I thought, well, how about I buy jewellery that will match a plain dress. I really like nice jewellery with just plain clothes, if that makes sense. I'm not very good with fashion, so but these are the earrings and necklace that I bought. Now these are handmade by her. I think they're some sort of glass, but they are a really nice colour. So they've got, you probably can't see it on camera, but they've got a green and purple tint to them. So it's got like a green and purple tint to it. Actually looks really nice on against the skin. Anyway, so I thought I would show you these, and I'll link her down below because she is a newish seller to Etsy, and she's called Harkling Creations. There we go. So if you would like any jewellery, she is UK based, but I thought they were absolutely beautiful, so I had to share them with you. And I have ordered a cross-stitch pattern, which I'll put here. I was very, very naughty and broke my no-buy, and I bought a cross-stitch pattern that I saw on TikTok, of all places. And I will link this lady's website below. You can buy them as kits, but I bought them as the PDF pattern, and I just fell in love with this dragon. It looks absolutely beautiful. It's not a big stitch. I don't know when I'll start it, probably next year. Because I want to kind of plan what I want to start next year in advance so I can save up for the floss and everything instead of doing impulse starts. I don't want to do too many giant giant starts next year. So I probably will start that one next year. It is beautiful. The colours, because I had to input the thread numbers in Pattern Keeper myself, which happens sometimes with cross-stitch patterns. And when I was putting them in, all of the colours were so beautiful. And it uses blended threads actually as well, which will be... I haven't done that for a while. The first ever cross-stitch pattern that I did that was counted was a dimensions kit. When I first started cross-stitching, I went big. And I had no idea what I was doing, and I bought this giant Christmas cross stitch. I'll find a picture and I'll show you which one it is. Someone's probably stitched it here. But anyway, it comes with blank Ada, no grid, and blended threads. And I had no idea what I was doing anyway. I got through a quarter of the stitch and done it wrong and threw it away because I took on way too much at a very, very short time when I just started cross stitch, and I almost gave up actually when I did that one because I got a bit too ambitious. Anyway, the last piece of haul I've got is not here, it's invisible, it hasn't arrived yet. So I ordered a magazine. If you watched I think it was last week, I was speaking about my daughter expecting a baby. Her first child and my first grandchild. Now she likes Disney items, so I'm stitching the soda stitch for her baby. but I also wanted to stitch something Disney. And I said last week I was getting a bit ahead of myself looking at the giant ones. You know, the Thomas Kincaid Disney ones? Great big things. They're like 200 quid on eBay. Those ones. And I was like, no, you can't do that. You'll be doing it forever. And by the time you finish it, the child will be grown up. So I found some Disney cross-stitch subscription magazines. And I've only ordered one issue because I showed a couple of them to my daughter, because I don't need all of them. I showed a couple to my daughter and she really liked the Dumbo one. So I have picked the Dumbo one, but it hasn't turned up yet. So when it does, I will show it to you. These magazines are only available in the UK, unfortunately. For some reason, they don't go to the US, but I have seen people on eBay selling them. So if you're in the US and you're interested in Disney cross-stitch magazines and that type of stuff, take a look at eBay. I'll link the magazine company in the description below for you to check it out. If you are in the UK, I don't know if it's only UK that they ship to, but I know they don't ship to the US, because where I found it was in a Facebook group, and all of the comments said don't ship to the US. So yeah, that's all I know. So that is everything I have for you this week. So I hope you have a really good week, and I will see you next Monday, hopefully with a bit more stitching. Bye bye.